You need to hear the story out. So me as an individual, I've been undisciplined, let's say last year. And the type of content that I love watching was those streamers who kept streaming about Among Us, because at the time Among Us was huge around 2022. And I love watching these players play Among Us. And Among Us, if you don't know, it is a 10-player lobby where there's one killer up to 3 killers, where the crewmates, the good guys, needs to deduce who is the killer and to vote them out during discussions. When you find a body, you report it, and you happen to come into this meetup and you try to analyze and deduce who is the killer. And the killer becomes victorious after killing all the crewmates, and they're the only one left. And I used to watch popular streamers like Diske's Toast, who was like the smart guy. I used to watch Corpse, who was the deep voice guy. And we also had Valkyrae, who was another YouTube streamer who loved playing Among Us and all variety of different games. She was like the psychopathic one. Just looking at her, she just had this good vibe. And that's what explains why there's many viewers who actually likes watching her streams and everything. And regardless, that also, there's an observation that I would love to say, that the reason why that content, in my opinion, was something that I've never seen before is because, you see, you don't see 30 years old or people who are about to reach 30 actually enjoying themselves and talking as if they are just kids, enjoying friendship, enjoying life itself. Usually 30 years olds are just coming from work instead of a meetup with friends. That's what really got my attention, even at the time when I did not have such a strong awareness and observation, because back in the day I was just mindlessly consuming, so I don't really think as much as I do. So yeah, that being said, in the gaming world there was this individual, and she, around the time I saw her, which was last year, she had about like 2 million subscribers, and she really popped off and went viral through Among Us and through that collaboration she had with the other popular streamers, which allowed her to really thrive. And she has the whole story all on her own, and she's known as the gaming queen, and her name is Valkyrae. That's her gamer tag, but her actual name is called Rachel Hofstetter, and she is someone who went through struggle to get to the place she is now. She always had gaming as a certain passion for her to chase, but for actually 2 months from when she started, she was actually quite hesitant. But she kept going with this idea which she didn't fully develop, right? In this 2 months, she was supposed to carry the responsibility of taking care of her mother, because she did not have a job. She was getting old, and she was working too while she was streaming. And what's fascinating is that her story was one that we can all relate, because she went through some suffering, and also to understand that every successful individual needs to suffer at a certain degree to get to the place you want to reach, to be successful. And she's someone who was absolutely vocal about her upbringing and how she delivered the type of content she is doing right now. And it took loads of hard work that came out of her to do the things she does. And for 2 months straight, what happened was she was under a financial instability, so she needed a source of income, and she didn't have that source of income. And for the longest time, she's been just uploading video game content thinking that it will be successful. Here, what I would say is that she was really following her desires instead of a logical path, because she did state in a certain podcast that which isn't very long, which was probably a clip, but she said that for 2 months I didn't know whether my decision was the right one, but I just still kept going with it, which in my opinion I'm absolutely against. If you don't have a strong plan and you just go with the flow with your desires, you are going to end up going at a place where you don't want to be in. So you need to have a really structured plan, but she didn't have. She just went with the plan of just making content and listening to her followers and commented under her videos. And for 2 months, she was just getting 1,000 viewers. Like, she was hovering around a thousand viewers, and her viewership didn't change. And she just kept posting until she reached a certain turning point, which changed everything. In the span of 6 months, from 1,000 viewers, it changed to 100,000 viewers. That is what you call viral. She went viral under 6 months because through the help of collaboration, and she was invited into this team to play this video game called Among Us, and she just popped off from there because other YouTubers helped promote her content, and that helped her in a way to gain exposure, and that's how she got the 100,000 viewers, which she wouldn't get if Among Us didn't exist. So I'm not a fan of gaming. In my personal opinion, I feel like I should be game phobic, and everybody should be game phobic, because there's no intrinsic value in what you gain from video games. But one thing for sure is that her work ethic, as she was genuine, I was able to understand clearly that some people, they fake through the way to show this persona which isn't true. And she was one of those genuine content creators who really was vocal, which is how she got most of her loyal followers, because she was being as loyal to her personality, to who she was, and she stuck for herself, and she believed what she said was the right thing because she did it as she thought was best for her, and she thought the authenticity route was the best route. And that's what I loved to see about her, because you get to see the real things that you don't see in many content creators, which really appeared to my eyes. And what I think about why Allah had make us do hard work, it's because it builds character. So we can see through her content, Valkyrae's content, that she was absolutely grateful because she understood that what position she got was a position that required lots of hard work, and it wasn't a very easy task. So she valued the thing that she built instead of just not valuing. For example, let's say there is a 50-pound dumbbell you need to do bicep curls. Let's say you did it thanklessly, very easy. Do you really pay attention to it? Absolutely not, because it's not that hard. But in reality, that is hard for the average person who doesn't train. I can do bicep curls 20, not so much, around 50, but 50 is very, very hard. And when you're able to do 50, you've reached a position where you are beating people out of the competition, because there's so many people who can't do 50 pounds, but you are capable of doing so. And that struggle that brings the drive to attain that goal is what is necessary. And that is what Allah wants you to attain. Allah knows best, but Allah always wants the best for you. Allah wants the best for you, so by definition, He will give the reward when it's best for you. He doesn't want to give it too early, because that means the process will be too hastened. And when the process is too hastened, let's say He gives you a 7-figure business and He just gave it to you, and let's say He gave it to you early. What would happen is that you are not responsible enough to do so. If He thinks that you are not responsible enough to do so, He'll put you into more hard work until you are capable of dealing with it, until you are capable of putting the sacrifice into it. And that is meant for you for the best. And this also, second, as it builds character, it also builds gratitude. Because Allah truly wants you to be grateful for the thing that you've built. If you built this and you already knew the plan and everything was just easy for you, and you've done it a million times, of course you wouldn't feel that pain, that struggle, that risk factor that would come and involve inside the process of building such a big thing. In her case, Valkyrae, she built like this big YouTube channel. But there's many others who have like this ambitious goal, who achieve this ambitious goal, and this happens through hard work. And as humans, we're stubborn, and that is why we need to learn through lessons. When someone says, don't give up, it's just words to you unless you've said, don't give up in a position where you are in a very difficult time. That is when it just hits different. So when you value the thing that you've built, you become grateful of it. And when you become grateful of it, this initiates a loop where the more grateful you become of the work you've built, the more you actually gain. Because in the Quran it is said, and remember when your Lord proclaimed, if you are grateful, I will surely increase you in favor. And if you deny, indeed, my punishment is severe. Chapter 14, verse 7. That is how we actually learn gratitude. And one way, it's through the hard work. And I want to give you a practical strategy before you leave the video. So this is the important part. So you're probably wondering if you're the type to procrastinate and you can't get the work done when you need to. So that also what I learned that you should learn. Habits build an identity. You see, every single time you back down from the promise you make into your mind, and I told myself 5 minutes only or 10 minutes only, but now it becomes 30 minutes, then 5 hours. What happens is that you break that promise, you keep breaking that promise, you start forging an image of yourself that is negative. And when you forge an image that is negative, what tends to happen is that when there's a little bit of discomfort associated, you just automatically give up. You don't even try to restrain yourself. You want to play video games, and as soon as that desire to play video games comes in, what happens is that video games, I'll play video games. You don't even think anymore. It's not even a thought of doing homework. You just want to play video games because it's just so ingrained in you, and that is just how you roll, and it's your identity. So momentum is crazy powerful, and one way to visually represent your momentum is through using an app that will visually show you your progress. And when you see your progress, there's this motivation that comes with it. So the way I track my habits is through using this one app called Habit Now Routine Planner. I don't know the full app name, but it's in the link in the description below. You can check it out. And repetitive behavior creates an identity, right? Now I'm slowly building this identity of a disciplined person, and I'll be completely honest with you, and I truly want to share my goal with you. So I'm on a road to 100 subscribers, and I know I will make it there because it's inevitable. If you're going to create this continuous action towards that goal, you are going to reach it. There's no stopping. If you're persistent enough, Allah will give it to you. And I'm in the exact journey as you. Me and you were in the same exact position. If you have a goal and I have a goal, we align in the same exact pattern. You can be whatever age you are. It doesn't matter. You have an ambitious goal. I have an ambitious goal of 100 subscribers. You probably have another goal. Maybe you want to do good at school. Coming to that, I want to say that my channel is catered for men who will realize or will soon realize through watching these videos is that there is a world out there outside the traditional school system, and that the traditional school system is not the only place where you can get knowledge. There's a place out there through the power of self-education where you build your own school, and my channel hopes to be that igniter, the catalyst to knowledge will help you build your 2.0 self. And keeping with that theme, make sure you press the subscribe button, like, and I'll see you later.
Mm-hmm.